Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the Film School podcast this Wednesday, the 25th of November. My name's Adam and I'm joined by a fantastic group of hosts. We have the one and only film guru himself, Josh J. Luke. How you doing, Josh?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Adam.
We have the final girl, Emily Pratt. How you doing, Emily?
I'm really well, thank you, Adam.
And last but not least, the rom-com expert, Chris Birchie. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, thanks, mate.
I thought you weren't going to reply and it was going to throw me. If you don't know what the Film School podcast is about, it's a podcast where we talk about some of the films that we've watched throughout the week and then jump onto two main topic films of the week. And this week's films are The Way, Way Back and Half Nelson. You can follow us on YouTube and all podcast services and on Instagram and Twitter, Film School Pod. So what did you guys watch this week?
Well, I know Em and I watched The Grudge, which we were thinking would just be a, run-of-the-mill sort of 2000s horror movie. I can't remember if I'd seen it. I think once we'd watched it, I think we both realised we hadn't.
Yep.
And
I thought I had, but after watching, I was like, no, definitely not.
yeah, if I had seen this movie before, there is no way that I would have forgotten how bad it was to decide to sit through it again.
Yeah.
I have never been so lost in a movie, and not in a good way. Not in a way where it's like, oh, keeping you guessing. I literally didn't know a single character's name 90 minutes into this movie.
I was about to
And we
ask,
were
what's
both-
the plot? Is
we
there a
don't know,
summary?
really.
Yeah. Okay, so this movie tells its plot in the strangest way imaginable. Like, it just continually introduces protagonists for like 3 minutes each, 10 minutes each, like one after the other, and then it works its story in reverse in sort of flashbacks and stuff, and it just sucks.
So you're not going to tell me what the plot is. The plot is it's so bad, don't watch it.
The plot
It's essentially something like there's this this curse or something, and that's all I can actually tell you. Like,
but that's
isn't
what
that
I'm
it?
saying. Like, I think the structure of it is so bad that it doesn't even really tell you what the plot is. You're just watching some spooky scenes every now and then.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm actually going to look up.
Sad.
And
Sounds like I'm in a VCAL or like an English class or something, and the kids are trying to explain things to me, and they're just giving me nothing.
So I've just I've had to Google this, even though I actually watched the movie like less than a week ago. So it turns out our main character's name was Karen Davis. Didn't know that. So
Still didn't know that.
Yep. Karen Davis moves to Tokyo, where she encounters a supernatural spirit that possesses its victims. After a series of horrifying and mysterious deaths, Karen makes a vow to stop any further deaths. Didn't know that.
That's more plot than I got from watching the movie.
Yep.
All right. Did anyone else watch anything? I'm just going to jump over that one next. Chris, did you watch anything?
Yeah, I'm trying to get my summary of it because I couldn't really remember it. But I watched Jay and Silent Bob Reboot,
wow.
and it's actually somehow got good ratings, like as in like 2.5s or something like that, which was ridiculous because I don't know, just all it was a self-reference movie, and then a little bit different than an earlier movie, and they just keep referring to that it's very similar to an early one they did, and they've changed enough of it to make it a reboot. I'd highly recommend not watching it, and probably 70 minutes of it real bad, and there's a few laughs, but that's about it. And then the last 30 minutes picked up, which increased its score by double for me, from a half a mark to 1 mark. So yeah, don't watch.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a terrible movie. I've also seen that.
Wow.
It has. I wouldn't even give it the last half an hour. I reckon it's got one good scene in the entire thing, and it's just a reference to a scene from a better movie, which is How High. It's got one scene where Method Man and Redman have a cameo, and it's slightly funny because they do all the acting and all the talking. That part's funny. Then they're not in it, and the rest of the movie is a 0 out of 10.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Wow. Well, we may as well round it out with another pretty darn average movie. I know Josh and I both watched New Mutants, the latest and final film in the Fox X-Men series.
Thank fuck.
Yeah, I could not agree more. This is like one of those films that just has no consequences. So essentially, it's a set of school kids, like 5 school kids, that are trapped in a school which is clearly holding them hostage. And I guess the plot is they're trying to escape, and it's so throwaway. But saying that it's like maybe not the worst X-Men movie because it's at least like semi-watchable. What were your thoughts on it, Josh?
Well, this movie. So, how much did this cost to make? Let's get that sorted out. Give me a ballpark range on that.
I have no idea. I would have said like maybe
I think it was
25 million.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? I'm pretty sure it was more than that, so I'm going to look it up.
There you
But I
go.
cannot
45.8 million. No, sorry,
40
sorry, 67 to 80 million dollars. It's a range.
67 to 80 million dollars. Oh my! All right, so this movie is like watching 2 episodes back to back of a really mediocre superhero television show on the CW network in America. And if anyone knows what I'm talking about, they're the TV channel that make Arrow, the TV channel that make like Flash and all that sort of stuff. You are essentially watching 80 billion minutes of okay television that I wasn't paying attention to the point where it's just because nothing really mattered. Like I could have this on in the background and know exactly what was going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the accents get thrown away like halfway through the
Yeah.
movie. Like it has like Arya Stark in it, and
Yeah.
she does not give a great performance by my
No.
my books. And then there's that kid from Stranger Things who potentially gives the worst American Kansas accent I've ever seen, and then throws it away halfway through the film. Just like literally just stops it. And I was like, this is it was really bad.
You know what? He
Which,
probably did that
kid
for
is
the
it?
best.
It's the guy who's in who ends up sleeping with Nancy. You know that weird looking dude?
Someone's brother, is it?
No.
Isn't it Will's brother?
Oh, yeah.
It's Will's brother. It's Will's brother.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Will's brother?
Yep.
I
It is
thought
Will's brother.
Nancy's was Will's sister.
Nah, Nancy's Mike's sister, isn't she?
Okay. Anyways, we're going off
It's been a
topic.
while.
Yeah. So New Mutants wasn't the worst X-Men movie. Like it was.
It's not the worst X-Men movie because it goes for 90 minutes. Is
Yeah.
my interpretation of that.
And it's a real low 3 for me. Like real low.
It is a low. Oh, it's probably a mid 2 for me because I wasn't actively annoyed watching it, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Does anyone have anything else that they watched that they really want to talk about?
No.
The silence
good.
is deafening.
All good.
All right. Let's jump into the first movie of the week. The Way Back, released January 21st, 2013, directed by Nat Faxon and Jim Rash. It stars Steve Carell, Toni Collette, Alison Janney, Anna Sophia Robb, Sam Rockwell, and Maya Rudolph. It has a runtime of 103 minutes. With a budget of only $5 million, it had a box office of $26.9 million. It's also it's an independent film from the studio that brought us Juno and Little Miss Sunshine. What was everyone's... Well, do you want to just run us through the plot first?
Yeah, sure thing. So basically, Duncan, who is our main character, he's not a very popular kid, and it doesn't look like the summer is going to offer anything better for him. His mum, who is played by Toni Collette, and who is dating a character called Trent, played by Steve Carell. So the mum's boyfriend invites them all to his beach house, where Duncan is expected to improve his personality and the way he looks, and to meet girls. Trent makes it very clear to him on the way that he's a 3 in his books and that he needs to be better. So he's also got like this, his would-be stepsister who doesn't want anything to do with him, and he's really shy, so it makes it really hard for him to meet anybody new and to make new friends. When Duncan wanders into the Water Whiz, the local water park, he kind of befriend some adult employees who are pretty much just there having fun, not taking their jobs too seriously. So Sam Rockwell's character Owen with him, and they form this bond, I suppose, a bit of a connection, which kind of helps him, well, helps both of them, I guess, mature and find their place in life. So for Duncan, that means ultimately standing up to his would-be stepfather, having a conversation with the girl next door who he is a little bit keen on, and just being more comfortable with who he is. Finn.
Lovely.
So what was everyone's initial thoughts on the film?
I think you should probably lay out your thoughts, Adam, on this one.
I was so outrageously bored during this film. I didn't, just straight from the get-go, didn't love the main actor. I literally thought he had no real redeemable qualities, and I know that it's like a coming of age over the summer. I just felt that, at least from... everything was way too on the nose for me. Like, Sam Rockwell being, this carefree dude that takes, a real young kid under his wing just didn't seem right. I didn't love Sam Rockwell in this character at all. He, his performance honestly did nothing for me, and I saw your review for it, Josh, but, everything about it was just, he was just too over the top, too, I don't know, just extravagant, I suppose. And then, also marred with, the scene where they're waiting for, the chicks to go down the water slide was really jarring. And honestly, the whole experience was just, everything was just so, cliche, and, I've seen it 1,000 times, and it just did, I swear to God, nearly fell asleep during it. I just really didn't enjoy it.
Okay.
And it would have been good if it had a good soundtrack, but it didn't, I think.
See, I was watching it being I would have thought this is, up Adam's alley in terms of, the I don't know, the overall mood of the movie, the music, yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know. I think, for such a star-studded cast as well, I thought that the script would, explore more themes. I will say that the worlds that the story built felt really lived in. But besides that, I don't know. Everything just seems, way too outrageous and, unbelievable.
Yeah, it's in my books, it was a perfectly average coming-of-age movie. So nothing that you're going to say, this is the best movie ever, but I didn't think it was the worst movie as well. I agree that some of the scenes were, pretty unrealistic. In particular, that, the breakdancing scene where...
Oh, man.
he
Talk
goes
about,
to split up. Yeah.
I think that if it had... See, I think the issue was that, I think the tone of the film sort of fluctuated a bit, because it was pitching it as this really serious, especially with Steve Carell at the start, talking in the car and saying you're a 3 out of 5. I don't know, and then it did that 180 where it then just went to cringy, where there's no way this kid doing this shitty version of the robot and everyone... I don't know. It just I think the two together didn't work, and then it tried to jump between being serious and then not serious. So tell me more about your thoughts, guys. What did you guys think?
You could see what they were trying to do with that scene, but it was just it was way too quick. It went from him being the lonely type kid that didn't have any confidence to being nearly the number one kid around the block type thing, because then that was the scenes after where he's doing the where he was the girl down the slide type thing as well, and where he had all that confidence. So yeah, I agree, but yeah, wonder what Josh and Emily thought.
Yeah, I do agree, on that scene. I do think it wasn't realistic because, really, in theory, if this kid comes over to tell you off for dancing and everything, you're probably not going to respond by being nah, bro, dance. We'll help you do I don't know, the thing, you spin on your head. I can't think of the name right now. But, yeah, I more just found that reaction part unrealistic. I did kind of like it, though, because I was oh, that's sweet, even though that would not happen at all in the real world. It would be nice if it did. But yeah, I don't know. I, since having, time between watching this movie and like how I'm feeling now, I think I probably like it slightly more. Like I think I remember after it just being like, like I didn't really rate it very highly, but also like I didn't hate it by any means. Whereas now I'm kind of like, oh yeah, like there were a few scenes which I liked. I did actually like Sam Rockwell's character quite a bit. Yeah, like I thought he was just like quite a nice, friendly sort of guy. Like I found the one of the like final scenes like you know, kind of emotional where like they had to say goodbye and all that sort of stuff. I was like, oh, that's really sweet. Yeah.
I wonder what
Josh?
you'd be thinking if you're the mum, like Tony Collette in that scene. Like you'd be like, wait, he's been hanging out with this guy for like 3 weeks and stayed overnight. And yeah, how you doing, mate? That's good to meet.
It's weird because with all of that, like I didn't really look at any of that and be like, oh, this is inappropriate. I was more just like, oh, that's nice that like, you know, someone's being there as like a bit of a father figure and like is showing him kindness and all that sort of thing.
And
But
that's
yeah.
the way it's definitely
that's
represented
intended.
in there. Yeah.
Mm.
And I just thought I think it was fine. Like it was perfectly fine. I was sitting there the whole time. I was like, this is sort of like light entertainment. They get a bit it's got a bit of heart now and then. Like I think in terms of everything feeling a bit fake, especially the water park, I agree. And from a symbolic point of view, I think it just represented like sort of what was his name? Was it Brennan? Or whatever the main character's name. I think it represented.
Could not tell you a single person's name in this film.
That's all right. I think it represented his sort of safe place.
Is he Duncan? Duncan?
Duncan,
Yeah,
yeah. Sorry, Duncan.
That's it.
Yeah, Duncan. It's your mate. Yeah, so I think it just represented like his safe place and a place to get away from all the thoughts that are in his head with all the stuff that's going on at home. And I think that's why the film had such a tonal shift between when he's with people he feels comfortable with, people who make him feel himself. And you're right, that is very on the nose. It's very easy coming of age, but again, it just wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. I wasn't bored at any point. I think Sam Rockwell's character, having the relationship he has, you got to think about it in terms of he's this guy who manages a water park, and we find out later on that he obviously had father issues as well. And I don't think it's sort of out of character for you to sort of take in someone of this age, and also it may also be because we don't have sort of summer culture as such in Australia, where towns like this would have young people like him coming into work all the time, just for summer jobs and things like that.
So just to like, because I think maybe I sold it like that. I thought it was inappropriate that he was hanging out.
No, not at all.
I think more so like what I found jarring was not his relationship with the kid, but then they threw in those like extra scenes that I didn't think were necessary. Like I didn't think that they needed to do the whole like where Sam Rockwell like introduces like the kid at the top of the slide and like tells all the women to wait.
Oh,
like, and I thought
I did not like that.
Absolutely.
Like I thought that scene like but then there was like also other scenes like the whole like getting stuck down the water slide and the overtaking thing, which just I don't know. I feel like they took some heart out of it.
They did, and I didn't like that scene either. But I suppose to contextualize it the way I saw it while I was watching it, Sam Rockwell's character, while being very good to Duncan, is a perpetual teen, and that's part of the issue with some of the relationships he has around people. And I think that obviously some of the stupid stuff that he still does is because of that. Because he's never grown up, he hasn't really advanced in life. And I think that's what I was trying to do in terms of the dichotomy between Steve Carell's character and Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
Where Steve Carell's character may have been more successful in say capitalistic sense of he's got a successful job, he's got a holiday home and all this sort of stuff. But is Sam Rockwell's character more fulfilled because he lives a more carefree life that he may enjoy more and he may have less stress in? So yeah, I thought there was some interesting stuff here. I didn't think it was a great movie, but I definitely didn't hate it.
No, I think
I hated Steve Carell's character though. I can tell you that much.
Oh mate, what? He was a scumbag. I also thought that like it was very like I will say that the one thing I thought was well done was like the way was Tony Collette the mum?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I feel like as you get older, like you realize more and more that like you could probably see yourself being her in that situation. And I thought that like that the way that they tackled that, and then like her mulling it over, and like the kid's reaction and everything was pretty realistic.
I would agree.
Yeah. Anyway,
I think the part which I hated was when he made the scene at the party and like got really angry at his mum instead of Steve Carell's character. I was like, oh, I kind of get it because like he'd be looking at it as a kid, being like, just leave, like, what are you doing?
yeah.
But yeah, and I think in that I found it frustrating because I like probably felt sorry for Toni Collette's character. But yeah,
I think he was probably angry at his mum too for letting Trent treat him that way. Yeah, because he kept, like, there's heaps of scenes where it's like, make sure you pick this up, make sure you do that. You got to talk to me like this.
Yeah, and she like didn't pull him up on anything.
He was such a wanker in this film, wasn't he?
He was.
He played a good wanker though. I must admit.
Yeah,
like, he had a strong tan going.
Oh.
He was very hateable.
Yeah, he was
No.
very hateable. Yeah,
He was definitely not the Steve Carell from The Office.
In terms of that scene with the mother getting angry, I thought so that was, they tried to still represent that he was still scared of Trent, and then he didn't have enough confidence to fully stick up
Chase
for
him.
Yeah, and that's why Sam Rockwell was still needed at the end.
Yeah,
and I think that that was kind of a nice thing that they didn't go, oh, you have to do this all on your own, sort of thing at the end. Like, oh, you've now got the power to stand up to your stepdad. It's like, no, sometimes you do still need like positive help and positive influence from those around you.
I think that like maybe another thing that sort of stood out was like the neighbor's daughter character. I thought was potentially done like okay. I think that like I like that they didn't like typecast her as like the neighbor who's like supposed to be like the attractive one that's like also a bitch at the same time. Like she was quite, although like it kind of seemed a bit on the nose that she was just into books and that was her thing. But
I think
relationship odd. I like didn't actually really see that happening.
No.
Until it happened, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Because I agree, because I think they sort of made the idea that she'd be more accepting of because of her brother, because her brother was the one who wore the eye patch, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like those two people seemed so totally distant and like far from each other in the story that like I didn't even click till now. You've said it.
They did, but that's what I mean. I think it might have made it more accepting to sort of a loner type.
Okay.
But yeah, there was definitely problems with this movie. This wasn't a 5-star coming of age. I wasn't crying at the end, but there were some nice things here and there.
All right. I think that's a pretty good place to wrap up. Does anyone have anything else that they wanted to mention, or are we happy to jump to the next one?
Happy to move on.
All right. Let's do it. Half Nelson is a 2006 American drama film directed by Ryan Fleck. It stars Ryan Gosling, who plays Dan, Sharika Epps, who plays Dre, and Anthony Mackie, who plays Frankie. It has a runtime of 106 minutes, a budget of $700,000, and a box office of $4.9 million. It also had Ryan Gosling nominated for Best Actor. Take us away with the plot, Josh.
So I'll just read out the Letterboxd one here, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail. Despite his dedication to the junior high school students who fill his classroom, idealistic teacher Dan Dunn leads a secret life of addiction that the majority of his students will never know. But things change when a troubled student, Dre, makes a startling discovery of his secret life, causing a tenacious bond between the two that could either end disastrously or provide a catalyst of hope. And this movie sort of focuses on real life problems of different people caused by different systemic issues and things like that, and different sort of contexts of their life. And it shows a sort of struggle-based relationship between two characters who are struggling for completely different reasons.
Perfect.
And yeah, what do we think?
Well, I think unanimously across the board, like no one hated this film. Yeah,
Mm,
Yeah.
I
Didn't hate it,
it.
didn't love it.
didn't
Like,
love it. Yeah, okay, cool.
yeah.
I think that's where we all sort of that's where I fell. Anyways,
Mm.
I thought that again, Ryan Gosling's acting probably was the standout.
100%.
The girls as well, though. I reckon.
Yeah,
that
she was great
Shrieker-
as well.
Shrieker, she was really good for a. I don't know how old she is, but she was really good in it.
I think that like there were lots of plot holes throughout the film. I didn't like where it sort of like I think it's sort of like a slice of life film more so than it is like a full like story arc film.
Exactly what I was saying before, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really love it because it was just so grim.
I knew you were going to say that.
But I think also,
No, I agree.
I think
I
also
can see
like I think they really focused on Ryan Gosling, but like I really wanted them to probably focus more on Dre. Like I feel like she was going through more. I don't know.
See, I don't know if I read that in your review, and I don't know if I agree with that as much because I watched it after I saw your review,
Okay.
and I think they had relatively similar sort of screen time and performance in the story. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a bleak film. Wasn't enjoyable to watch,
No.
but that doesn't
No.
mean
All right,
doesn't
so
mean
yeah,
it
so
wasn't.
like, can I just
Yeah.
sorry jump into like?
Oh, no, go for it.
Yeah, I'll jump into like the plot holes that I think that I struggled with. Like, I feel like they threw away what was a previous relationship with that lady. Like, I feel like was that what stemmed his drug abuse, or like was
No.
that the implication?
So the implication was that they were in a relationship as both drug users, and she had gone to rehab and it had worked.
But I think,
Man, that
though,
wasn't
when they were at the basketball, like at the basketball court, and they'd met each other again, that triggered.
Yes.
Yeah, so that triggered him to go into the toilets and therefore
Yeah.
shoot up. Which, also not shoot up. What was he doing? He was doing.
Oh no, but he'd already
yeah.
bought it. He'd already bought it
Yeah.
previously, so he was
Yeah.
obviously using before then. He was obviously.
That was the scene
in
I hated. I thought like
Yeah, I
knew,
thought it was disgusting, but
Yeah, I knew it was needed for the plot
Mhm.
in the sense for the girl to see him doing something or doing drugs, but the way they did it, because he was still sane enough to be functioning, like he was obviously coaching the basketball team. I just don't know why he would have went into the girls' toilets to do it. That was the bit that I was just like, why would
What-
you teach an all girls basketball team, and if you're going to do anything there, why would you do it in the girls' toilets when there's clearly a male's toilet just across? That was like, I just found that a really big sort of plot hole that was there to try and cause Dre to see him doing that and then follow on with the story. It might just be me, but that's how I found that.
No, that's fair. I agree. I sort of justified it, and this may be me just doing something to make sense in my head, but I thought it might have been the locker room bathrooms for the team that he was coaching.
It was, yeah, but it was because it was an all-female
It was the
team,
female
wasn't it?
one.
So
Yeah, but what I'm
yeah.
saying is he would have had his coaching stuff in there, and that would just been the first bathroom. And I'm assuming if you're in the mindset to take crack, regardless of how sane you are, there's going to be some things that you do that aren't exactly normal. But again,
like,
yeah,
I feel
it's a
like
plot
he
device.
walked after the ex-relationship lady, right? She had walked through there. That's why he walks in and yells, "Hey, is anyone there?" I thought that was what happened because she.
Yeah,
I thought he was just checking to make sure that it was clear.
Oh. Anyways,
Well, either way, yeah.
so I think like good to see we're all paying like heaps of attention.
Yeah.
I will say that like
We all really cared.
I think that some like the camera constantly
Shake?
shaking
Oh, I hated
was
it.
driving
Could
me up
not
the wall.
stand it.
It was kind of like doing like that faux like documentary style sort of camera angles, and sometimes it worked really well, like in the car where you were sitting in the back seat. But for the most part, man, it just kept shaking, and I was like,
just watching scenes, and I was like, "What is this adding? Like, this is just a regular scene. Just shoot it normally."
yeah, I'm just trying to think like what else like. I don't know. So just quickly, because I wanted to ask this. Did you guys think Anthony Mack, the guy who plays Frankie
Anthony
Mackie, sorry, sent Dre in to give the drugs to Ryan Gosling deliberately?
I think
I think
so.
so.
Yeah,
I
that was the
think
way
so,
I
yeah.
interpreted it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just wanted to
Yeah,
know.
so did I.
Yeah.
Be pretty cruel, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, was that
And-
his way of like showing her that like he's still broken? Like,
Yeah. What was the
Yes.
name that he said? Basehead? Is that what they?
Basehead, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was a way of saying, like, trying to implicate that more and just say that you can't be friends with your teacher type thing. He's not a good person, I suppose. And
I think,
yeah.
I think this movie like sort of brought up especially when I was watching, a good moral sort of conundrum, especially with all the characters presented. The fact that, Ryan Gosling's character is an absolute piece of shit. I'm sure we can all agree to that. He's a piece of shit. Anthony Mackie's character is a piece of shit. But these people in their heads don't think that they're bad people. And they all still function based on a set of moral codes that they themselves hold. And obviously it's going to be weird, but while Ryan Gosling does some deplorable acts and is just fucked up in a lot of scenes, he still thinks he's doing the right thing by getting one of his students away from a drug dealer, because he sees that as a moral right. Yeah, a moral right, redeeming himself. Whereas Anthony Mackie's character may think it's appropriate to help a child of that age enter into the drug selling world, but he thinks it inappropriate for a teacher to share that relationship with a student, and that's like his moral right that he sees in it. And I honestly found that interesting and fascinating when I was watching it.
Yeah, putting it like that, it is quite interesting. I think when I watched it though, I don't know. I didn't feel strongly either way about like either of them being like a better influence. That I did really dislike the relationship between Dre and Dan, those reasons. Like that one scene at the party where he started dancing with her, I was just like, how is nobody commenting on this? Like this, like you could see like them showing like kids looking and stuff, but I was like, surely someone like another teacher would have a conversation with him and be like,
I do like
what
that the
you doing?
movie stamped it out immediately and made it known that everyone thought it was inappropriate. Like Dre did, and so did Frank, and that's why I know Frank was outside, but I sort of got to explain later. And that's why I thought the whole moral code is like, oh, you're okay subjecting this girl to selling drugs and using it for your means, but you find that this is a moral wrong and stuff like that.
And then there's the confrontation between the two where you think that they're going to have a fight, but then they sort of just both agree. And like, I sort of took that as like they're both just shit people who are just like going to fuck her up anyway. Like,
yeah, that's completely true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the problem is they are both trying to help, but they are just both fucked up people. And their way of helping people is fundamentally fucked up. Like, yeah, Frank's a bad character. Obviously, he's a drug dealer, but in his mind, he's probably like, yeah, I'm giving people in my community a form of income. You know what I mean? This is just one of those movies that just gives you a slice of life is a good description. You get a short view into just a really bleak and dark part of humanity that definitely does exist.
So I did want to raise like the title of the film being called Half Nelson. Do you guys know why that is? So and I can explain it to you.
Well, I could take a guess.
Tell me what you think it is.
Well, I know a half Nelson's a wrestling move where you have both arms like sort of held behind your back.
Yeah, so essentially it's a hold in wrestling from behind the opponent, passes one arm under the corresponding arm of the opponent and locks the hand on the back of the opponent's neck. And like I don't know, I was like reading into it and like trying to like understand like why they would call it that. And essentially the director in the film's maker's commentary was like, oh, it was all shot handheld. And I was like,
was that really the reason why?
But like
You couldn't even come up with anything better. Like, I could literally come up with a fake explanation of why this is named Half Nelson.
And then there's
right
like,
now, and it'll be better than that.
and then there's like the interpretation of that, the film constantly like makes you like feel like there's someone like pushing on their neck and like weighing them down. I don't know. I don't think it was a great name for it, but
I don't either.
based on
I
that.
think they might have come up with the name before they actually wrote the movie and just stuck with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say with this. Like, it was perfectly fine. Like, I feel like I saw what they were trying to do. But I don't know. I don't think the execution was fantastic. I think it's funny because, like, if you go back and like look at the reviews and stuff, like on Letterboxd, and also like just read about like what people thought of it at the time, people thought it was like Ryan Gosling's like breakout role.
Well, I mean, what had he done before?
Besides Notebook, I suppose.
Yeah, had he done really many dramatic roles before this though? Because remember, we watched Lars and the Real Girl last week, but that was after this. So
True.
you have to take all these roles up until this. Like, if I'd watched The Notebook and then I went in and watched this, I'd be like, oh shit, this guy can act.
I suppose.
I think that Ryan Gosling like was definitely like outstanding with
Yeah,
it,
he
but
was
I think
amazing. Yeah.
and I think without him playing the role of Dan, this movie probably would have been. I don't see it working as well with like someone else playing that role. I think Ryan Gosling kind of like made this movie what it is in terms of all of the good things about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's pretty entirely fair.
I agree. What I will say is though, this is one of those cases where, and Michael Fassbender has made a career on it, where you've put in a really, really amazing performance in a movie that's not quite up to the level. And I thought this movie was not very well made. And I'll go back to a movie that we watched. Adam, what was that one about the was it the Chicago 9?
Oh yeah, the trial of
So
seven.
this is one of those movies where it was well written. Like, I thought sort of what they were going for was good. It was well acted in parts, but it just wasn't that well made. It just missed the cinematography aspect. Wasn't well directed. And Ryan Gosling put in one of his best in something that may not have deserved it.
Yeah, I would say go and watch Lars and the Real Girl. Like,
Yeah, and I'm
as a
kind of
preference.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised he didn't get nominated for an Oscar for that as well, because I thought that was similar in terms of quality, the performances.
He did get a nomination.
Not for Lars and the Real Girl, he didn't. Not for an Oscar. I think he got a Golden Globe.
Oh, that's right. It is a Golden Globe. I've just got it here. Yeah, interesting.
I guess it depends too what else was out that year.
Yes, that always has to be
as
mentioned.
we well know.
Yes, that's very true.
I'm
Although
just looking up the Oscar films for 2007 right now.
Oh, okay, good idea.
and
Let's put him. What was he up against?
The Departed.
So,
sorry. Best actor.
Yeah, best actor.
Leonardo DiCaprio in Blood Diamond.
Yep, I wasn't.
Oh wait, sorry. Are we doing What are we doing? Are we doing Lars and the Real Girl year, or are we doing?
No. Do half Nelson
2006.
year. Do half Nelson year. So it would be the
half Nelson
2007
year.
Oscars.
Okay, cool. So he was up against Leonardo DiCaprio for Blood Diamond, Forrest Whitaker in The Last King of Scotland.
That he won, didn't he?
Yeah, he did win.
Yep.
Peter O'Toole in Venus, which I've never even heard of, and Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness.
It was a fucking weak year for best actor performance. That is terrible.
Pursuit of Happiness was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, but come on.
I feel like that's
best
Will Smith's,
performance of the year.
one of Will Smith's best.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Still wasn't weak enough for Leo to win.
Yeah, well, that's not one of Leo's best, I wouldn't think.
No.
But I don't think Will Smith's really an Oscar actor, in my opinion. Like the fact that Will Smith was able to get nominated for an Oscar leads me to believe that it was a weak year.
Yeah. It's actually interesting because like there's a lot of like best picture films that I haven't seen here that like were nominated but like totally went under my radar, and I've heard of them but I just haven't seen. Anyways, maybe it's
Fair
a
enough.
story for
What about
another
the year after? Check the best actors for the year after, because
Okay,
that would be what Lars and the Real Girl was up
yeah,
against.
80th.
Let's see why he didn't get nominated, ladies and gentlemen.
Riveting podcasting stuff.
Yeah,
right
riveting
now.
podcast. No, well,
It is interesting. I'm interested.
I agree. All right. So we got best
People
actor.
can
actor.
skip forward if they want.
If you're still here, guys, and you don't Google, just listen on next
All right,
time.
so best actor
we're
for
gonna start shitting on the Academy.
2007. The best actors were Daniel Day-Lewis won it for There Will Be Blood.
All right. Yep.
Okay, George Clooney as Michael Clayton. Never heard of it.
Yep. I have. Yeah.
Johnny Depp in Sweeney Todd, the barber from Fleet Street.
Probably the last good movie Johnny Depp made. Yep.
I agree. I love Sweeney Todd.
So do I.
Tommy Lee Jones in The Valley of Elah.
Eli. Yeah.
E-L-A-H. Never heard of it.
Oh, no, me either.
Viggo Morrison in Eastern Promises. Man, I've not heard of any of them.
Oh, yeah, that's a
good
great movie. Yeah.
Man, I need to go back through and watch all of these.
That was definitely a much, much stronger year for Best Actor. Daniel Day-Lewis was amazing in There Will Be Blood. Sorry, Ryan. You were great in Lars and the Real Girl, but wouldn't much chance in that one.
Yeah, I agree. There Will Be Blood. Way better. All right. I think that's a pretty good place to stop because I think that we have totally derailed.
Going off track.
Stop talking about
We've lost our 5 viewers.
Yeah.
Actually, we have Alex889696 in the chat right now.
He's getting real angry.
He wrote hi and then put a little dog emote. So, anyways, thanks so much for listening to this. Oh, actually, what are we watching next week, guys? Sorry.
What are we watching next week?
Well, I'll tell you. Next week, we are watching, nominated by Emily, we're watching Sweet Country. And nominated by Chris, we're watching Predestination, 2 Australian films.
I feel like this episode almost had a theme. And it's like, see if relationships with older people could be beneficial to teens. And next week we've got an Australian theme, and we've just done it completely accidentally both times.
I like it, to be honest.
Yeah, themed episodes. Very fun. All right. Thanks so much for watching this episode or listening to this episode of Film School Podcast, where we talk about 2 main topics and then the films that we've watched throughout the week. You can follow us on YouTube. It'd be great if you liked and subscribed if you haven't already. If you get all the way to this point and you haven't switched off yet. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram, Film School Pod. And thanks so much, guys, for yet another great week. Can you believe we're 20 weeks in?
That is crazy.
Yeah,
to me,
wow.
honestly.
It's nearly our 21st.
Oh, we can legally drink in America next week.
What an accomplishment. All right. Thanks, guys.